You're listening to a new episode. From the French Riviera, here is your host.
Thank you for giving me 4 minutes of your time. I'm Jean-Christophe Domino, professional real estate agent working on the French Riviera with Keller Williams. For 6 years now, I'm helping you to buy or sell your property. In this episode, notary fees in France. Would you know how to distinguish the true from the false? Well, no worries. Even French people don't know everything about the notary fees system. So, whether you are a first-time buyer or a seasoned investor, my goal is to tell you everything about the way notary fees are made of in our beautiful country.
Avenue Gustave 5.
Let's start with this first common belief. Acquisition fees are not intended for the notary. The answer is true, but true and false. Because in France, the notary fees are made up of these items. 1. Taxes and duties. 2. The notary's remuneration. 3. Expenses and disbursements. Taxes, which make up 80% of the total. Taxes are paid to the Treasury on behalf of the buyer. The fees and disbursements are used to pay for the services of external parties or to pay the fees for consulting the land registry and other official registers. The public officer keeps only the sum corresponding to his remuneration. The amount of his emoluments is fixed by law and represents approximately 10% of the acquisition costs. Second assumption. In France, it is always the buyer who pays the notary fees. No, that's false. It is customary for the buyer to pay the acquisition costs, but this is not an obligation. Some sellers who wish to find a buyer quickly or to stand out from the competition offer to pay the notary fees. Be careful, however, that this expense is not passed on to the selling price. Other common idea. The acquisition costs are the same everywhere. False. If the professional's fees are the same throughout the country, the same is not true for registration fees. The French law has set a minimum and maximum rate for the land registration tax, the main tax paid when buying real estate, but the department's territories are free to adjust this rate for a transaction in the former. For example, in some departments, the tax is 3.80% compared to 4.50% in the rest of the country. Some departments and municipalities go even further by granting abatements on calculation base and an exemption from transfer duties for certain transactions. Basic information, or fake news. Notary fees are supposed to be less expensive when buying a new home. Yes, this is true. When you buy an apartment from a professional, you benefit from a reduced rate, and you do not have to pay the communal part of the tax. The maximum overall rate for new properties is 0.71% and 5.81% for old properties. The real estate security contribution remains the same, 0.10% of the price of the property. Thanks to this advantage, the acquisition costs represent 2 to 3% of the value of the property, in the new against 7 to 8% in the old. Another important question now. Is it possible to obtain a reduction on the notary fees? Well, yes, you can. The law allows notaries to apply a reduction on the amount of their fees. They can proceed to a maximum 20% reduction of their remuneration, calculated on the part of the transaction, higher than 100k euros. This practice must be applied to all acts performed by the notary's office, and clients must be informed of it.
Avenue Gustave 5.
Okay, you want to know more about buying a property in France? I can help you in that way. My name is Jean-Christophe Domino, your buyer agent on the Côte d'Azur, French Riviera, working with Keller Williams. To contact me, you can Google me or just click on the description.
You're listening to Jean-Christophe Domino, your next buyer agent based on the French Riviera. Go to www.domino.agentkw.fr.